So here are the things. This is that same picture, but it's all weirded out. So here are the things that I have been around and been a part of in terms of this coaching conspiracy. And the first one I mentioned is this thing we call the Jackass Clinic, okay? And basically what it is it was born out of a whole bunch of guys being at a clinic like this, although not nearly as good as this, who went to lunch or afterwards. They were talking about, what do you think about what Robert Gary said? And somebody says, it was awesome. I love this, this, and this. Another guy says, well, we can't do that because we have this issue. And some other guy says, well, you could do it this way, right? So the conversation that happens in between the talks, they felt was really important. And so they decided to flip it. So this clinic is basically guys get up and talk for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we sit around for an hour or 2 hours and talk about what they talked about. And the way we do it is we go to this guy's house, Chris's house, and we eat and drink as much as we want, and a lot of us spend the night at the house, and we get up the next morning, go for a run, and do it all again the next day. I will say that it's possible that the drinking enhances the honesty of the clinic, maybe, but there's a whole bunch of cool things that go on here. And again, it's the in-between times, and then we do a lot of different fun things. Sometimes we have somebody come in and talk for a while, and it's not just high school coaches. We've had a number of college coaches that come. Greg Metcalf has been a couple times. Corey Emmels from Boise State was in town once. He came. There have been a lot of good guys there, and a lot of locals. But it's not limited to just, you've won this many things or that. Not anybody wants to come because there's not enough room for everybody, but we want people from large schools, small schools. We want to get a lot of different perspectives. I know you were talking about going to the guy's house and the small school guy, right? Same sort of thing, right? And because a lot of us have come to this clinic more than once, we're pretty friendly, and we're, Pat, would you say no holds barred? Like, we can ask anything we want?
I'm the only one that doesn't drink, so I just sit back and play.
What I was getting at, though, is that because we know each other pretty well, if somebody gives an answer that's sort of dodgy, there are like 10 guys that jump on and say, come on, what do you really do? Just tell us what you do, right? And it turns out to be pretty good usually. So mostly we have guys from Oregon, but again, we get people from other places too. So if you're ever interested in coming out to Oregon sometime either right before or after Christmas when we do it, let me know and we'll see if there's spots available. I don't really get to invite people, but I can, suggest it. So anyway, it's a pretty fun deal. And a lot of good coaching goes on there, a lot of good learning. So, all right. There's another a clinic that I've gone to the last few years. A guy named Brad Barquist that ran at Michigan was Olympian in what year? What year did Brad make the team? 96? In Atlanta? I think he made it in Atlanta. Yeah. He coaches at a school called Interlake in Seattle, where he went to high school. And he runs a kids camp, and he started doing what a coaches camp. So 3 nights, 4 days, and we stay at the same place, and we get up in the morning, go for a run, and we sit around and talk all day, and then we run again, and we talk all night, and it's a pretty cool thing. It's called the Olympic Peaks Cross Country Coaches Camp in Seattle area, July 18th to 21st. I don't make any money on that thing. Howard, you coming this year? Come on. It's right in your backyard. Fort Flagler. So, I know, listening to you last year, John, I know you said you get together with your buddies and just like every year and you talk about the State of the Union kind of thing. I think that's stuff that we do informally all the time. So the reason I have Chris Fox and these guys up here, I don't know how they all became friends, but they do a whole bunch of cool things. Well, in particular, I know that when the NCAAs have been in Eugene for all these last, I don't know how many years, after the NCAAs, they and a few other guys either go to the coast or they go to Bend or Sun River and hang out and talk about track and field and running and whatever else. And I think it's pretty cool when you get successful guys that have been really successful who are willing to share that kind of stuff. To me, that's pretty awesome. So do you know how those guys are? Kelly Sullivan's at Seattle U now, and Steve Keith's at Vanderbilt, and Chris is now got his club, right? The Reebok Club with Justin Knight. So another one that I've gone to is called the Northern California Coaches Roundtable, and it's a one-day thing where we got a moderator and 30 coaches, and it's a 9 till 5 kind of thing one day, and there's no there's no fee except you got to turn in your training from the fall. So you got to give your entire training plan for the fall and one nugget of information that you think makes your program amazing or special. And so that's a pretty cool thing. Although I went one year and a whole bunch of guys didn't want to say anything. Have you been to it, Robin? A whole bunch of guys didn't want to say anything. I kept having to ask them stuff. So, and they thought I didn't know what I was talking about because I kept asking questions. So, all right. Another thing, so when we went to the Jackass one year, one of the guys that was there afterwards, he's sitting right back there, Thor said, we should do this like every month. And I said, I don't think Chris is going to let us come to his house every month and do this. And he said, no, like once a month, we'll just get together somewhere in town, in Portland, and we'll invite anybody who wants to come. He's got an email list of, 100, 200 people, coaches. And once a month we get together at a local restaurant and hang out for a couple hours, and we always have sort of an agenda of topics that we might talk about, and some nights we do and some nights we don't talk about anything about running at all. But I'll say that I think there's a lot of value in that anyway, because as coaches a lot of times you just see each other at meets and you don't really know each other, and when you get together a little bit socially, I think we appreciate each other more. I think when you go to the meet, you have more in common. You're willing to talk more. I think it's a valuable thing. So we do that the third Thursday of every month, but not this month because we were in Boulder. So, yeah. So we're going next Thursday, right? Next Thursday. Yeah. If you're ever in Portland on the third Thursday of the month, right? And we do an unofficial one. NXN version on the Friday night before NXN. So if you're in Portland and you're not sequestered at the hotel, then come join us. All right. So, all right. Another really cool thing, and I don't have a lot of personal knowledge of this, but a couple people have mentioned it to me, and I talked to one of the gals that's involved. You guys know Saugus High School in California? Perennial California power. Their coach is named Rene Paragus. Is that how you say his last name? Paragus, okay? And there's another school, Miracosta High School, and their coach is named Renee Smith. And for years when Saugus was winning, Miracosta was a second or third place team in the state. And it's really interesting to me that those two talk all the time. And Renee calls Renee and asks questions, and they do a meet at the start of the year together, and all the time. And Renee Paragus, they've won all those years. I don't know if I have another slide for that or not. That's not the one. So I just think that's cool. That here's a guy that he's won most of the time, but a team that's probably his biggest rival, he shares with her all the time. They talk regularly. I just think that's a cool thing. So, and I know the Miracosta coach, not the guy though. So, and I would just say that I think most in our sport, we were talking about this at lunch, and I don't know how it works in football and basketball and volleyball, whatever. But in our sport, I've never met a coach that wasn't willing to share with us. If I go and talk to somebody at a meet and I ask them what they're doing with that kid or how they got here or what they did, people are always willing to share. And I don't know if that's the case in other sports, but I find that if you just ask, people are more than willing to help.